Now, being called racist for no reason. If a girl accuses you of not caring, then it is true that you don't care. Even when you try to convince her that you care, it does not mean anything, because the way she looks and feels about it is that you don't care. You are a cold fish. So the same thing applies to being called a racist. Nobody will say that unless you did something that makes you come across that way. In your case, you gate crashed into other people's conversation in the mall while waiting in the queue and told them to shut up. That sucks. It is disrespectful to do this. It does not matter whether it is black or white, whether you agree with what they say or you don't. It is an antisocial behavior. Your mother should have told you that you can't do that. You got into trouble with those guys because of exhibiting an antisocial behavior. You wouldn't survive like that in the jungle. So to survive in the jungle, you have to show unconditional respect to everybody. You talk about the need to build a bridge, which I thought was a good point, quite an interesting point. But you fail to elaborate as to what do you mean by that. This was like a weather report that was predicting a sunny weather, and then the next thing, we wind up with a very dark, overcast weather. It was like a weather report that never materialized. What exactly are you saying about the bridge? I suggest you organize your thoughts so that it means something and not just leave things hanging like that. Your argument about name changes does not provide any facts. It is not true that the names are being changed to African names only. Joe Slovo, for example, is a white Jewish guy, and one of the highways has been named after him. How hard is it to say Joe Slovo? Dr. Bayes Nodier was an Afrikaner. One of the highways has been named after him. I mean, there's a lot of them. We have great respect for the Afrikaners. So don't insult the intelligence of your subscribers by telling them lies. Just tell them the truth and let them decide for themselves what is the truth. Insulting the Xhosa language as well as the memory of the great Mr. Oliver Tambo is regrettable, and it's not a smart thing to do. Those who live in glass houses must not throw rocks. You must respect and accept those you coexist with. What are you teaching your children? How are they going to survive when you are gone? Well, maybe you don't have children, I don't know. They will become, at any rate, they will become irrelevant to their environment, and thus threaten their own survival. And maybe you are becoming irrelevant to your own environment because you are now in contradiction with your environment. You are in antagonistic contradiction with it. The dinosaurs became extinct because they disrespected the environment. They started antagonizing their own environment. They didn't adapt to the change in circumstances. Change is not easy, but life must go on. To survive, we must master the syntax of the terrain. Very important. Who is O.R. Tambo? You said you respect Mr. Mandela. Then you should respect O.R. Tambo. He is one who led the ANC while your forefathers jailed Mr. Mandela. We have the freedom today because of him, Mr. O.R. Tambo. That's why he is honored that way. Don't worry about exotic names. Tourists actually like African names. I spent most of my life among the English, and they adore African names because African names are authentic. That's why many white South Africans who are into tourism business use African names like Xhosa names or Zulu names or Sotho names, whatever makes business sense to them. And I respect that. I adore that. You think tourists will get lost? That is laughable. Are you saying if you try to go to a Chinese airport you would get lost? Because what the hell, who can read Chinese? You don't need to read Chinese to get there. Your argument does not fly.